In modern speak, it's not just getting started, it's just getting push button started. See what I did there, Jeff?
Well done.
Jeff Wondra joins us today from Snell Motors on the corner of Madison Avenue and Highway 22 in Mankato. Wheels with Wondra. And today we are talking about that push button start and the passive entry system.
Exactly. So whether you just got a vehicle with the push button start, or you're afraid to even look at them because they seem too complicated, or you rent cars. You know, you travel a lot for business and you're renting these different cars and they come with push button starts, and if it doesn't have a key, I don't want it. All right? So they're really, really simple systems, and they're getting more common. They're definitely not getting less common. So I'm just going to run through a few different things with that passive entry system. First one is going to be simply unlocking the vehicle. Now, you can use your fob or remote, same thing, and you can press the unlock button. Or you can walk up to your driver door. Most of the time, there's going to be a button on there. Very rarely do they have no button where you just simply pull on the door handle. And then there's a proximity sensor that knows that fob/remote is within a certain distance, and then it unlocks itself. So let's just talk about the button theory. So there's a button on the door handle there. You press that button, it unlocks your driver door, you get in. Now, let's say that you often travel with other than just yourself, other people, you have to load things into the back seat, etc. What I found makes the most sense is I actually press the button on the rear door instead of the driver door, and what that does is it unlocks all the doors versus pressing the driver door twice. So that right there might be news to you if you have that push button start. Opening the trunk is another thing. You can press the button on the remote, but let's say your hands are pretty full and the keys are in your pocket or your briefcase or your purse, and you want to fumble for them. There's going to be a pad on that back door. And I always tell people, think of that trunk as your fifth door. So if your vehicle's locked, the trunk is locked, the vehicle's unlocked, etc. But even if the vehicle's locked and you're within that proximity and you press that pad to open that trunk up, then it will pop open that way. Starting your car. Sounds simple, sounds self-explanatory, but you just need to simply put your foot on the brake and hold, and then press the start button. Some people get frustrated because they just... If you ever seen those people that type with one finger...
Yeah.
It's like the keys are really hot. Like, okay? Some people do that when they try to start the cars as well.
We might work for some of those people.
And if you do that, it's not going to work. And then they say, it's broken. I don't like this car. I want to get something else with the key. You just need to give it count to 1 second, 1/1000. One firm press, it starts every single time. Now, to shut the vehicle off, you do not need to put your foot on the brake. Same theory, just press and release. Just calmly. No, don't just hit it and get mad.
Don't road rage that bad, Daddy.
Exactly. All right, so let's say that, with my keys, I never forget my keys, but with this dang fob, I always leave it in my vehicle. Well, there is a reminder. If you leave the keys in your car, the vehicle is going to be set up to honk 3 times, and that just lets you know, hey, you left your keys in here, anybody can drive away in the vehicle. You can turn that system off. So let's say I always leave my keys in the garage, and that's the way I'm going to do it forever. Totally fine. You can turn that system off, but one that you cannot turn off is if your vehicle is still running. That's another thing. Believe it or not, people with these push-button start cars sometimes leave their vehicle running, because they're not turning off the ignition. Believe it or not, there's also some distracted drivers out there. Let's say they're on the cell phone, they just get out of their vehicle, put it in park, and they walk away. What this is going to do is it's going to honk 3 times, letting you know that your vehicle is still running and your keys are in it. Or if they're not in it, if you get out and shut the door. So just remember that if it's honking, there's something you need to check out. Accessory position. That's another thing that people, I listen to the radio and, just kind of doing stuff while so-and-so is filling up the gas. There is an accessory position yet. And simply when you start it, you put your foot on the brake and press the start button. On the accessory, you don't put your foot on the brake and just press the start button. Now, something that works in a lot of vehicles that most people don't know about is you don't want to put your accessory on for too long, drain the battery, but you want to listen to the radio. So every time I go to the gas station, wife sits in the vehicle, I go out and, get the fuel and pay for the fuel, go inside. What you do is just simply press that power button on your radio. Just like I talked about the start, just press your power button, and then your radio is going to turn on for 10 minutes. And you can change the radio stations, listen to whatever you want. And then once that turns off after 10 minutes, I believe most vehicles you get another 10 until you need to actually start the vehicle. But most times when you're filling up with gas or something, 10 minutes is sufficient. So that way you don't have to put it on that that accessory position, drain the battery. Listen to the radio, takes virtually no battery when that's the only thing that's on. All right, so another question I get a lot is, what if I have a dead battery in my remote? What if I, it's just 3, 4, 5, 6 years and the battery doesn't work? Now what? All right, so let's say you got into the car because it was good enough to get you into the car. Every vehicle is going to have a designated area for that fob where if there is not a battery in it whatsoever, it'll still transmit between that area because you place it in a holder and you can start your car and get somewhere to a battery to get it working again. Now, what if my car battery is dead and the fob works great, but I can't get into the vehicle because I can't press the buttons and it won't do anything? Again, every vehicle that has a push-button start has a built-in key in that transmitter. So there's going to be a slider that comes out. You can take it apart, comes in 2 pieces. There is an integrated key. And with that key, 9 times out of 10, there's going to be a keyhole in the driver door. You can unlock it, pop the hood, and jump start it. Now, if you have like an Escalade, for example, you're looking, I don't have one. I can see it. There is a little cap that pops off on your driver door, and there's a keyhole behind that. And then there's the Corvette people. Nope, I look, there's no cap. There is a spot for you as well. It's going to be towards the trunk area, and then you can pop the door open from a trunk release spot back there. So every vehicle that has a push-button start, there is a way to get in your vehicle and jump start it. And then locking the vehicle is the last thing. You can lock it with the fob. You can press that button on the driver door like we talked about before, or you can set it up to automatically lock. As soon as you get about 10 feet away from the vehicle, I always kind of think of it like the vehicle gets scared when you're leaving and it locks itself up. So if you ever forget to lock your vehicle, just simply set it up so you walk away 10 feet. You'll hear it honk so it reminds you. I think I need this for my front door at home if it just walks away. But we'll start with the car. So again, if you have a push-button start, if you're afraid of this whole push-button start thing taking over the world, or if you just simply travel and rent a lot of cars and you've stayed away from it, please stop in. We can explain this in detail again and just make you more comfortable with the whole thing.
All right, Jeff Wondra with us today from Snell Motors for Wheels with Wondra. They're right down on the corner of Madison Avenue and Highway 22 in Mankato. And at the moment, a beautiful day for a test drive.
Beautiful.